Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms video. I am RoyalMixGaming and today's video is going to be about what are the best 5-5-5-1 commanders that you can do even as you start in the early game. So before we start this video, I'd like to see if you guys would drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I will be trying to keep getting more informational videos to you guys, which I hope help you a lot when you're doing your Rise of Kingdoms gaming. So let's get on to the video. So when we're talking about commanders, we have tons and tons of commanders nowadays, and you kind of wonder, what are the best commanders that I can start to invest in if I don't have enough sculptures to instantly just expertise them right away, because some of us, even me, don't have enough sculptures to expertise commanders, because there's a ton of commanders I don't have expertise that are lower down, and ones I'd like to have but that I don't have the sculptures for. So we're going to go through basically two of each troop type, so cav, infantry, archers, that are either early game kind of commanders or late game, like the newest, best stuff. So we're going to go ahead and go over basically the older generation of commanders. We're going to start off with cavalry. So Saladin is a very good commander because he does 1400 damage factor. He has a defense, attack bonus, and has skill damage taken reduction and counterattack damage taken reduction, which makes him a very versatile and very good support commander that they can go with like Ethelfled, YSG, William, things like that. They're really, really good as a primary commander that really help you in the future. He is an early game commander though, so you can get him, I think, even as early as like maybe KVK2, like right before KVK2, right around that time he starts to come out, which is really, really good and is why you should invest in Saladin if you're going to be doing a cavalry account. The second commander that we're going to go ahead and go over is going to be Guanyu. This commander is a Season of Conquest commander, so it's a little bit younger than Saladin is, but it is in the same kind of generation, kind of. So we're going to go ahead and say that 5-5-1-5 or 5-1-5-5 Guanyu, is going to be a really good commander for you to invest in once you reach the Season of Conquest, because he is a very good commander to go with a lot of different infantry pairs. Does a lot of damage. He does a direct damage factor of 2000 in an AoE. Then he basically has a downgrade when you do him as a secondary commander, so he has to be a primary commander. His third skill is infantry attack and march speed and a slight heal, and his last skill is extra additional damage factor when you're hitting a target, and it has kind of chances to do that. That is why you want to be doing 5-1-5-5 Guanyu. If you're rich and have a lot of sculptures, you can expertise him. I expertised him a long, long time ago when there wasn't a lot of commanders out. He was one of the best in the game. And some of the latest gens are starting to replace him or go with him really well, which is why you would want to do this earlier in your Rise of Kingdoms career rather than later if you're doing kind of an infantry account or even a mixed troop account, which is why he's a really good commander and I would recommend you expertise him or do him as a 5-1-5-5 just to start you out. The next commander that we're going to go ahead and go over is going to be Ramses. I didn't do too much with Ramses because I didn't really play a lot of the game around this time when Ramses came out. I had a little bit of a break around the time that Guanyu kind of came out, so I didn't really invest in Ramses, but he's a very good commander because he is a good archer commander, does an additional damage factor of 800, and then it goes over a period of time, which is really, really good, has a 25% defense reduction. He then also, while on the map, gets an extra 20% attack, which goes all the way up to 40% for 5-5. Once you max that skill out, and you get on his third skill a 30% skill damage taken reduction, archer attack bonus, and then you get some extra march speed, which is why he's a really good archer commander to go with commanders like YSG and some of the other commanders that are around the same generation like Nebuchadnezzar, commanders like that, Gilgamesh, Tamaris. Those kind of commanders go really well with him, but he's usually the primary commander since he's very tanky and most people won't target a Ramses right away, which is why he's a really good 5-5-5-1 commander, which you could eventually expertise, which is really, really good. It gets an extra bit of damage on his damage factor, and it really helps out. But a 5-5-5-1 commander is really, really good and can help you out a lot in this generation of commanders. So we're going to go ahead and go on to basically the top tier best commanders in the game. What ones are basically really good at 5-5-5-1 or roughly that amount or type of skills. Zanetsky is probably my number one pick right now, simply because as a 5-5-5-1, you get a direct damage factor of 2300, up to, I think it's a 45% defense reduction on one target. Then you get attack, march speed, and health on his second skill, which is really, really good, a lot of stats. Then get another 20% defense and damage taken reduction if you are surrounding a target. And then you also deal 10% increased damage to that target, which is why a 5.5/5.1 Nevsky is really, really good. I would recommend you Expertise, but this video is about commanders that you can just start to initially invest into and then Expertise them when you decide to. Pairs that you can do with Nevsky are XY. You can also do Minamoto for a little bit higher spenders. You can do William, which is a lower investment commander with Nevsky. And you can do a couple other pairs that are really, really good, but those are probably my top two picks, other than things maybe like Saladin or, things like that you can try and do. But mostly with William and XY is the two combos I would probably recommend for Nevsky. The next commander we're going to go ahead and go over is going to be Scipio. He is farther down because I don't have the sculptures to invest in him, and I do have experience gaining on him, but that's all. So as a 5.5/5.1 commander for Scipio, you're going to get a 2000 damage factor in an AoE, 30% health reduction, which is really good because it kind of replaces Ethelflaed in a way. Then you get a 40% attacking bonus, march speed, and some extra triggered march speed bonus, which is nice to have on the field. And then you're going to get 20% more health when you're attacking troops. And then you also have a chance to do like an additional damage factor, instant proc damage to a target once every 8 seconds. That's the kind of kit you're going to get with Scipio. If you eventually go on to Expertise him, you're going to get a shield and some extra, damage factor from the shield, which is going to help you take less damage. And then his Expertise, he gets more skill damage, and then he also is going to go really well with Guanyu. When he gets basically tolerated silence, he's going to do more rage gen. But as a 5.5/5.1, you're going to basically get all the stats and the health and all that kind of stuff that's going to help you out in the field. And then if you eventually Expertise him, which is really, really good, just like Nevsky, this is the newest generation of commanders, would not be a bad thing to do because they go with a lot of different pairs. Things like Alexander the Great, Charles Martel, Guanyu, and other commanders, infantry pairs that you can do like CJ, go really well with Scipio, and has a variety of options that really is going to help you out. The final commander we're going to go over is one that hasn't exactly been released yet. Well, it's been released, but she is Boudica. The prime version of Boudica is the newest, latest generation archer commander, which is basically going to be our 6th commander that I'm going to finish off with here because it's basically the latest generation. Best commanders that you can do low investment in, and they're going to do really, really well. Especially if you're in the Season of Conquest, these are basically the 3 that you want to do. Nevsky, Boudica, and Scipio are the 3 you want to do, but if you're in the earlier game, the other 3 that I listed, Guanyu, Ramses, and Saladin will help you out earlier in the game until you get into the Season of Conquest. So Boudica's kit is a 2300 damage factor, just like Nevsky. Then she's going to make the target take up to 35% more skill damage, which I think that Samaris does 45%, but it takes time to stack up. So this is just like an instant 30% more damage on the target. So if you have her primary, which is going to help out your secondary commanders on all your marches, which is really going to help you out. If you can get this rage cycle going really, really quickly with like a Horn of Fury, you can really help out your other marches do more skill damage. That's her first skill. Her second skill is going to be getting extra attack, up to 30%, extra 10% march speed, and extra 30% defense once you get under 80%. 80% is kind of like when you get hit a little bit and they back off. That's kind of when you get around 80%, and that's when you get a little bit tankier. So that once you get to yellow, then you're going to be able to get away when you're a little bit tankier, so you're not too worried about it. And then she has a chance to increase her normal attack damage by up to 25% with a 50% chance, and a 25% to increase it all the way up to 50% once you max the skill out, which is really nice in a way to increase your normal attack just because you get more damage. And it's just kind of an extra, bonus on from the skill damage taken reduction, which is kind of like what Saladin has, where he takes less skill damage, and then I think he takes less normal attack damage, which is nice to have. And then the 4th skill is basically just a healing factor. It is a little bit extra damage to infantry, but you're really not missing out much on her kit if you don't do this. So when you do her 5.5/5.1, you're really not missing out on much until you go ahead and Expertise her. When you Expertise her, she gets all damage 10% right off the bat, which is really, really good. And then when you're under control effects, so things like silence and, extra, I think it's like skill damage, taking like Tamaris' debuff and things like that, and then heal immune, I would assume it includes all those. It just kind of lists a couple because I can't really list them all, the different debuffs. But when you're in things like that, it basically dispels them, which is really nice. That's when you expertise her. You don't really need this. It's not necessary for her kit, but it would be nice to have once you have a lot of commanders done and have some commanders good to go, and you've got some sculptures. It's a good idea to expertise her, just like most commanders. So those are the commanders that I would kind of recommend to you, those 6 different commanders today. And the latest generation are for the newest, latest, greatest, in Season of Conquest ones you really want. And those are the commanders I'd recommend: 5-5, 5-1, or a slight modification like 5-1, 5-5 for Guanyu, and will help you out in the Season of Conquest. And Saladin will help you before Season of Conquest, which is really nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions on any of the commanders or pairs that I thought of today. And I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you on the next one.